Projects begin with dreams, and this has been the case with the creator of this massive project of a kind. The creator Matthijs Koch used to sail the North Sea with his father during his early childhood days. A lonely and abandoned place when you were out of sight of the coast due to many ship movements in the area. A zone with red blinking hazard lights. An industrial sector with 65% of its capacity planned by 2030. The North Sea. This has been a reliable source in many ways. Almost 70% of electricity for countries surrounding the North Sea is generated by massive offshore wind parks. Aviation has a huge role on this project, and with helicopters summing up to 90% of its participation, that's been dedicated to the offshore industry. Strange, but true. Big players have been banking on this particular source from years with investments unimaginable. In fact, billions are invested in building new energy infrastructure planned for the second half of the century. Ladies and gentlemen, the team of Aerosoft presents you the biggest project on the planet right here at Microsoft Flight Simulator. What kind of a worksite would this be, you would imagine? Wind parks, oil and gas extraction platforms, dense shipping going to extremes, extensive fishing, port anchor areas, sea lanes having their hard-coded boundaries, and more. Every inch of this great worksite has a purpose, designated for a specific use, and quite amazing with fish still living around the area. We welcome you back to another exciting episode of Microsoft Flight Simulator. Do hit that subscribe button as it can greatly help us. A project with a dozen of them working day and night, and big thanks to the team to bring us the North Sea on board. What's more incredible is the collaboration of other studios trying to integrate within a project this sort, and big thanks to High Performance Group on offering us the coastal variant of the H-145 and scenarios tailored to get more adventures in this area. Why is this project massive and big? What's so special about this? Every man-made offshore object has been utilized here. Yes. Right from the smallest buoy to the largest oil platforms. From a small crew boat to the pioneering Spirit. The largest, in fact, that's a construction vessel. We do have a companion to help us navigate and explore these incredible objects. What else can be part of this pack? 388 heliports, 196 ICAO codes, 78 beacons, 72 substations, 741 ships with helipads or winch pads, plus all part of Nav Data Pro and Navigraph, making it more authentic. The area is quite large on coverage: the North Sea, the English Channel, the Irish Sea, and small parts of the Atlantic Ocean. But the main coverage remains on the southern part of the North Sea. There's a reason for this, as it's the most densely populated region on activity. We can find the densest shipping routes, the biggest wind parks and gas production platforms. On the side of the Irish Sea, it has less marine traffic and few wind parks. On the northern side of the North Sea, a larger section with low density of objects where we can find mainly oil production platforms. A massive project like this should invite issues on compatibility. The recommendations the devs offer us is to disable any marine traffic DLC if you plan to fly in this area. The vessels in these products can easily sail into areas they should not be in, and often do not follow the shipping lanes very precisely. Now the devs have included every ship in the location it's supposed to be. That makes it much more realistic. A number of models have been included as I mentioned earlier. The team cleverly bought or collected information found on databases, making sure that the info was accurate if it's a tanker, a tug, a drilling gas rig, or a fishing vessel. Now modeling objects can use a lot of resources, time, effort, and investment. The team have made a smart move by purchasing models whenever possible, which makes total sense. You can find anything you need for ships and offshore industry related. Building an actual oil rig can cost you almost $1 billion. Quite often the 3D artists linked with these models can have detailed models offering the team for a fair price. This is an example on the approach used by Aerosoft so as to keep it more authentic. There are no two ships that are the same. Yes, there might be 50 different kinds of ferries on North Sea. We only have 3 models. They've managed to pick the best possible object for the location. AI can't be really friendly as we hope for, even in 2022. it had to be manual labor. Yes, a labor of love for sure. Every area has been meticulously planned when it came to placement of objects here. There can be issues when a number of polygons are used. Crash to desktop to name one of them, a common one in fact. The team have tried to place more than 5 million polygon objects, ships with greater details, and have been successful. Big thanks to the graphics engine of our sim to keep it steady. The same manner, optimizations have been well managed throughout, making sure that the lighting, level of detail, animations were unaffected, giving us a smooth experience. The crew boat, our best friend. A scout to help us discover the area at our convenience, which has been included in this pack. Essentially, the crew vessel is used to transport crews and small cargo during construction and maintenance work. A catamaran hull is used to make it more stable. Due to its rocky nature, a nickname would be Vomit Express with no jokes intended. On the aircraft menu, the ship is selected like any other aircraft, and on the world map, you can select the point of departure after clicking on takeoff. The ship starts at the desired point. Don't expect any study level on this ship, something to help us navigate the territory. The following options help us control the ship better. Plus, I've included these controls in the description so that you can take a look later on. We cover the crew boat. The wind park is another beautiful aspect here. With a relatively shallow depth and strong prevailing winds makes the North Sea the perfect place to generate wind energy. 8% of North Sea is now a wind park. That's a huge area. The plans are to move the number up to 15%. Huge investments yearly at 26 billion to help keep the planet more green and safe, providing clean and cheap electricity for the UK, Ireland, the Netherlands, Belgium, Germany and Denmark. A low-risk plan that's very well worth it. If the same plans continue, by 2050, this can provide up to 75% of the energy needed by surrounding countries. The wind parks are quite visible in this pack, more at night compared to daytime, and that's due to the red hazard lighting. The horizon can be filled with these blinking red lights. Shipping lanes, avoid them, but you can find smaller vessels servicing the turbines in many locations. The highlights of the packs are construction sites. We can see massive ships placing the foundations and adding pylons. While other ships are laying cables and building substations, these connect all the turbines and then feed electricity to the mainland. Substations have helidecks that accommodate working crews when sailing is not recommended in this location, or you have a guard vessel intercepting you. With the wind park covered, you would be surprised to see some hefty structures next. Oil and gas platforms. Oil and gas rigs are placed where oil is more abundant underground. The colored green indicates the availability of oil, while red is natural gas or condensate gas. We saw wind parks that were placed on shallow areas, plus a huge investment on billions. The cost of oil and gas quite easily multiplies here. In fact, a single oil rig, a single one can cost you up to €1 billion to build and install. Running this single rig can cost you millions a day, coming under maintenance and operations. No wonder these companies who operate them can afford expensive helis to transport even spare parts for an oil rig. No matter what the weather is, round the clock is what they expect. It's a complex task to explore an oil or gas field and a robust process to always operate them. The surveyors come with special ships to determine the best places to drill. A drilling rig is brought on site. With a high tower, many cranes, the holes are drilled with many for a single platform. The production rigs are placed. During construction, dozens of ships and hundreds of people work around this area where special ships are involved, helping keep the crew safe as possible. These are called flotels. Quite often flotels dock to a worksite where smaller ships ferry around. Massive ships bring construction parts. Even larger cranes lift these bits into place. Now the ships have the capacity to lift an entire oil platform and place it on its foundation. Other ships are designed for special tasks like diving operations or dredging the seafloor. Shipping lanes and traffic patterns. Managing ferry traffic and ship traffic is a must to have a much more easier flow of traffic, especially in a densely used area as the Channel and the North Sea. Vessels, another beautiful requirement of this pack. The team have made sure to include varieties here. There are hundreds of types of vessels. Each of them have a purpose to be a part of this project. Safety standby vessels. These vessels are always at hand when drilling takes place. quite fast and equipped to evacuate personnel. They can also fight fires and assist with other emergencies. Tankers. These come in different sizes, starting from smaller ones that are used to bring in chemicals to the platforms to massive super tankers that are divided based on the weight they carry. A handy-sized tanker carries up to 50,000 tons. Panamax that's designed to traverse the Panama Canal has a capacity of 100,000 tons. Aframax that carries up to 120,000 tons. Suezmax, the name says it all, helping traverse the Suez Canal, carrying up to 160,000 tons. Very large crude carrier that can carry up to 320,000 tons, and an ultra-large crude carrier that carries up to 550,000 tons. That's more than 500,000 tons. The bigger tankers have helipads and the smaller ones have winch pads. Fishing vessels. There are many. We can come across 3 types of them, where the smaller ones stay close to the shore. The larger ones go offshore fishing grounds and the massive ones sail the oceans. It's quite surprising to see some fishing vessels that are rather higher than they're long. Different models from trawlers, schooners and line vessels can be found within these classes. Freighters or cargo. Now these come in different versions. The smaller feeder ships, general cargo ships, usually mid-sized and carry any non-standard cargo. Dry bulk carriers that transport grain, coal, or reefer ships that can refrigerate cargo like fruit or meat. Rudder ships that can transport usually cars or vehicles. Container ships which comes in many sizes. Smaller ones that can carry around 500 containers to the ULCV class, handling up to 24,000 containers. Offshore industry vessels. One of the prominent parts of this pack. They contain all the ships involved within the construction and maintenance of offshore sites. Shown here is a floatel, a large vessel where the crew can rest between shifts, and the crane-like structures we see on the deck are the connectors for the crew to their work sites. There are plenty other vessels here, from dredgers that can lean sites for wind parks, cable-laying vessels and more. Ladies and gentlemen, another world of its own rather awaits us to explore, indulge, make new adventures, be part of the construction crew on a helis and many more in this True to Life pack brought to you by Aerosoft. I find this idea phenomenal. A recent arrival to the marketplace. The journey to Microsoft Flight Simulator continues with more adventures. Do stay tuned for more surprises. It's been a true pleasure. Until next time, do take care.